The screen wakes. She lifts it toward his face. Months ago, when he showed off the feature in her kitchen, he never noticed what she changed. Now the phone unlocks even with his eyes closed. Debbie works fast. Messages first, then the photo roll, then the hidden album, then recently deleted, then the fake Vault app. Lex's pictures are everywhere. Debbie deletes every copy she can find, then wipes the trash folders, then kills the cloud backup copies too. After that, she keeps looking. What she finds turns her stomach colder than the harbor wind. Other girls, younger girls, saved files that have nothing to do with Lexi and everything to do with who this boy really is when nobody is watching. End prize. Debbie forwards the folder, the messages, and enough proof to the police tip line and the local department email. Then she clears Lexi out of every corner of the phone she can reach. Riza. On the bench, Lexi's boyfriend is half conscious and getting worse by the minute. Can't, he mumbles. I already did. He slurs one last insult at her. It sounds childish now. Small Debbie drags him farther along the path and leaves him stretched out on a park bench where he will not choke if he gets sick. She puts his phone back in his pocket. The blackmail is gone. The leverage is gone. Whatever happens after he wakes belongs to him. Then she takes the cooler, the empty bottle, and her own steady breathing back to the car. On the drive home, the streetlights feel almost gentle. The coach is gone, the neighbor's roses are finished. The editor is burning down inside his own website. Lex's boyfriend is out cold on a bench with nothing left to threaten her with. For tonight, the smaller fires are under control. The rest is still waiting. Cooper still has missing hours and a dead zone where the truth should be. Harley still smiles too warmly and asks too many questions about Debbie's marriage. Those problems will still be there in the morning. Debbie parks in her own driveway, kills the engine, and sits for 1 second in the dark before she goes inside. Episode 2: Convergence and Confessions. Debbie, the mother orchestrating the complex retaliation, continues her plan when Harley invites her farther into the apartment and calls from the kitchen. Lunch is almost ready. The place feels staged. A candle is burning in the middle of the day. 2 wine glasses are already out. Soft music is playing by the window. Harley, the personal trainer caught in the affair deception, keeps talking while she chops vegetables, bright and easy and a little too careful. Debbie smiles and lets her eyes work. There are men's running shoes half hidden under a chair, a charger on the side table that Harley would never use. Then Debbie asks where the bathroom is. First door on the left, Harley says. Debbie goes down the hall at a normal pace. She turns on the sink first. That part matters. If Harley is listening, the sound will cover her. Then she opens the medicine cabinet and sees a razor, men's face wash, and a mouthwash bottle with part of the label peeled off. She steps back into the hall. The bedroom door is open. The bed is made badly. One side is smooth, the other is wrinkled. A damp towel hangs over a bench, and on the floor beside it is an oversized gray t-shirt, half inside out like someone took it off fast and missed the hamper. Debbie bends and lifts it by the collar. She knows before she fully unfolds it. The smell hits first. Cedar, citrus, that same sharp cologne that always arrives a second before the man wearing it. Jesse, Cooper's coworker who is entangled with Harley, has been in this room. The man Harley has been calling Cooper is actually Jesse, and the college student from Debbie's past is also Jesse. Everything inside Debbie goes still. For one hard second, she is back at MIT. Loud music, a paper cup in her hand, a cute older boy offering her another drink, a room upstairs with bunk beds. Then the blank stretch, then waking up under him, heavy and slow and unable to fight the way she should have. Debbie? Harley calls from the kitchen. You okay? Debbie folds the shirt the way she found it. She sets it back down. She opens the bathroom door wider and says, Fine, I was just washing my hands. When she returns, Harley is plating salad. She watches Debbie too closely now. She asks small questions about marriage, about distance, about husbands who stay out too long. She tries to sound casual. Debbie answers in calm little pieces and gives Harley nothing. Then Harley says, "You should come by for dinner tomorrow." Debbie wipes her fingers on a napkin. Tomorrow works. Harley relaxes. She thinks the game is still hers. Debbie lets her think that. By the time she reaches her car, the whole week has changed shape. The shirt has done that. The smell has done that. Everything ugly and scattered now points in one direction, toward Jesse. And the morning after the shipyard, that same night, another problem in Debbie's house breaks open. Her older daughter finally tells her about the photos. The boyfriend took them. Then he used them to push for more. Debbie listens, holds her while she cries, and promises one thing: "I won't let him ruin your life." After midnight, Debbie takes the girl's phone and drives to the shipyard. She leaves a beer on a bench. There is enough opium in it to drop him. Then she waits in the dark and watches him arrive, read her daughter's texts, and drink the whole can without much thought. When he finally passes out, she picks up his phone. Months earlier, he had complained that facial recognition failed when his eyes were covered. Debbie had shown him how to turn off the setting that required attention. He thought she was being helpful. Now his phone opens while he sleeps. She deletes every photo of her daughter she can find. She clears the messages that brought him there. Then she keeps going and finds something worse: old illegal images of younger girls. Messages proving he passed them around. Debbie screenshots everything and sends it to the school and the police from a fresh anonymous account. Then she leaves him breathing on the bench and goes home. By morning, the consequences are already moving. Her younger daughter calls from school in a panic. A senior drove straight into the building. Students are locked in classrooms. Ambulances are outside. When Debbie gets there, both girls are shaken, and her older daughter is crying in the back seat before the car even pulls away. It was the same boy from the shipyard. Unquote. He is alive. His neck is broken. The school had called him to the office before the crash. He woke up, learned trouble was coming, got behind the wheel on his own, and wrecked his own life. Debbie does not say much on the drive home. She did not put his foot on the gas. He did that himself. Still, she feels the line she crossed, and she keeps moving, because now she knows who the real target is. A gun for Jesse and a gun gone. Once the girls are home and the house quiets down, Debbie starts the next part. She drives to Jess's house first. The spare key is under the doormat. That almost insults her. She lets herself in, wearing gloves, and goes straight to where he keeps the gun. She handles it carefully. She wants Jess's prints to stay where they are. When she leaves, the house looks untouched. Then she goes back home and heads for the garage. Cooper's gun safe is under the workbench, exactly where she always knew it was. The code is their anniversary. He never realized she knew that too. Debbie opens it, takes the gun, wraps it up, and closes the safe again. She has no plan to use Cooper's gun. She only wants it gone. Lately, she has smelled alcohol on him. She has watched him lie. A loaded gun and a lying husband are a bad mix. She will remove one risk from the house before the night gets any worse. She gets rid of Cooper's gun before sunset. Then her phone buzzes with a short message from the receptionist. He's home. Debbie reads it once, then deletes it. That is enough. The boss upstairs. The boss was supposed to be away. That was the office story. Fishing trip. No signal. Back next week. He is home. Debbie parks on the street, takes Jess's gun in her bag, and walks to the house. The hidden key is where she expected it to be, under a planter by the porch. Inside, the whole place is quiet. She goes upstairs. The master bedroom curtains are drawn. The boss is on top of the bed in a rumpled shirt, one shoe off, like he meant to rest for a minute and drifted longer than he planned. He looks up when she enters. At first, he only looks annoyed, then confused. "Debbie," he says, "what are you doing here?" He starts to push himself up on one elbow. Debbie raises Jess's gun with both hands. That stops him. He stares at the weapon, then at her face, still trying to fit both things together. He is still forming his next sentence when Debbie fires. The shot ends it. She waits. She listens. No footsteps, no second voice in the house, no witness coming from another room. Then she moves. She takes his phone. She sends a short message to Jesse telling him to stop by later and water the plants. She checks the door camera feed and deletes the clip that shows her arrival. Then she wipes what she touched, leaves the phone behind, and walks back out the front door. One death does two jobs. It frees the woman he had been crushing for years, and it starts the frame around Jesse. The house in Cambridge. From there, Debbie does not go home. She drives north to Cambridge. The old fraternity house is still standing. Different boys, different paint. Same shape. Debbie parks a block away and walks up with a fake name already ready in her mouth. She tells the student who answers that she is writing a small piece on fraternity life. He believes her at once and offers a tour. That alone tells her he is not Jesse. Not. Inside, the house is smaller than memory made it. Still, the stairs feel the same under her feet. The second floor feels the same. When the student opens a room with bunk beds and two desks, Debbie almost loses her balance. The room is wrong. The room is also close enough. For a second, she cannot breathe properly. She has to grip the doorframe. The student notices and asks if she wants to stop. Debbie says no. She had come here with matches in her purse. She had even left the purse upstairs on purpose, thinking she could come back alone and light the place on fire before walking out. Then the student takes her to the basement and talks about how the house works now. He points to a poster on the wall, "Do not leave your drink unattended." He says they close the upstairs during parties. He says they keep guests in open spaces. He says if anyone ever tried to drug a girl or take advantage, they would be out. Maybe he is only saying the right thing. Maybe he means it. Debbie looks at him and sees a college boy who has nothing to do with the man who ruined her life. When the tour ends, she goes back upstairs, picks up her purse, keeps the matches inside it, and walks back out. The house is only a shell. Jesse is the one she came for. Cooper reads the history. Cooper, Debbie's husband who is struggling with his sobriety, returns to the scene feeling like the whole day is tilted wrong. At the office, the older secretary is already staring at the company books with a deep frown. A lot of money is missing. It has been disappearing for months. The boss is not answering his phone. Jesse is standing nearby, pretending to be calm, joking too fast, asking if Cooper took it. Cooper does not laugh. Then his phone rings. It is his older daughter, and she never calls him in the middle of the day unless something is seriously off. "Dad," she says, voice shaking, "I think something is wrong with Mom." He leaves the office and drives home as fast as he dares. Both girls are waiting for him. His older daughter is upset. His younger daughter looks scared and practical at the same time. They lead him to Debbie's computer and show him the open folder on the desktop. Drafts from the old advice column. Carist white. Only these drafts are not normal household advice. They are dark, ugly, full of ways a wife could hurt a husband and make it look clean. Cooper feels sick. He calls Debbie. No answer. Then his older daughter takes his phone, opens Findly, and shows him something he never knew was there. It doesn't just show where she is now, she says. It keeps a history, too. If somebody stops somewhere for 10 minutes or more, the app logs it. That is the rule. 10 minutes or more? Cooper stares at the list. The shipyard, the coach's house, the boss's house, and one more address in Rockland that means nothing to him. He does not know what Debbie is doing. He only knows the app has turned suspicion into a trail. He grabs his keys and goes straight to the boss's house. The body and the empty safe. The house looks dead from the street. Cooper rings the bell first. Nothing. Then he remembers the hidden key under the planter. He hates that he knows where it is. He hates more that his hand is steady when he reaches for it. Inside, the place is silent. "Hello," he calls. No answer. Then he hears a phone ringing from somewhere near the sofa. He finds the boss's cell phone half buried under a cushion. The older secretary's name flashes on the screen. There are missed calls stacked on the lock screen. That is when the fear hardens. Cooper carries the phone to the coffee table and heads upstairs. The master bedroom is dark. The curtains are still drawn. When he opens the door all the way, he drops to his knees. The boss is on the bed, eyes open, jaw slack, a bullet hole in the middle of his forehead. Cooper cannot make sound for a second. He just stares. Then the nausea hits. He bends over, gulping air, fighting not to throw up on the floor. His first thought is the police. His second thought is Debbie. His third thought sends him running. Back home, he goes straight to the garage, yanks open the small safe under the workbench, and stares into the empty space where his gun should be. Now the panic gets a shape he can barely stand. A dead boss. Missing company money. A gun registered to him, now gone. He thinks Debbie took it. He thinks she may be framing him for murder. He checks finally again. The Rockland address is still the only place on the list he does not recognize. He gets back in the car and drives. On the way, his sponsor calls. "You sound awful," she says. "Have you been drinking?" "No," Cooper says at once. "I swear, I'm not drinking. It is the truth." He wants that to count for something. When he reaches the dead-end street in Rockland, he sees Debbie's blue Subaru parked beside another car he recognizes from the office. Then he sees the building, and he starts running. Harley sets the table. Harley, the personal trainer caught in the affair deception, prepares for dinner like she is finally done waiting. She makes spaghetti. She sets the table for 3. She straightens the cushions twice. Tonight, she tells herself, everything changes. She still believes the married man in her life is Cooper. She still believes he has been promising too much and delaying too long. Then a text lights up her phone. "We need to talk." It is from the man she still thinks is Cooper. Harley answers right away. "You're still coming, right?" A moment later, the reply comes back. "Yes, he'll be there." Good. She wants him here. She wants Debbie here too. Once both of them are in the same room, there will be no place left for anyone to hide. Debbie arrives first, right on time. Harley welcomes her in, offers wine, and keeps the small talk going just long enough to get them into the kitchen. Then she starts laying the trail. "I invited my boyfriend tonight," she says. Debbie leans against the counter. "Really?" "He's older," Harley says. "An accountant." Debbie gives the smallest nod. "Like Cooper, exactly like Cooper." Still, Debbie's face does not crack the way Harley expected, so Harley pushes harder. "He is married," she says. "That's messy," Debbie says. "He says it's over at home. Men say a lot." The answer annoys Harley. It also unsettles her. Debbie is too calm. Then the doorbell rings. "That must be him," Harley says, and hurries to the front door before she can lose her nerve. Jesse is standing there with his gym bag over one shoulder and a metal water bottle in one hand. He steps inside. His eyes go past Harley at once. He sees Debbie in the kitchen, and all the color leaves his face. "What are you doing here?" he says. Debbie's mouth curves just a little. "Hello, Jesse." Harley turns so fast she nearly loses her balance. "Jesse?" Jesse looks trapped. "Harley, listen." "No." Her voice jumps. "Who is Jesse?" He drags a hand over his mouth. "My name isn't Cooper." That lands like a slap. Harley stares at him. "You lied about your name? I can explain. You can try." Jesse takes a swallow from the water bottle, then another. His face is slick with sweat now. He looks at Debbie again, then back at Harley. "I used his name," he says. "We worked together. It was easier." Harley actually shoves him. "Easier for who?" He opens his mouth to answer, then sways on his feet. Harley sees it at once. His eyes are wrong. His balance is gone. He reaches for the wall and misses the first time. "What is wrong with you?" she snaps. "Nothing. It is very obviously something." He tries to take another step and fails. He drops onto the sofa too hard, blinks, and presses his fingers against his temple. "I think I need to sit down," he mutters. "You need to tell me the truth," Harley says. He is already fading. A second later, he tips sideways, half on the cushion and half off, and goes limp. For the first time that night, Harley's anger gives way to fear. She looks at Debbie. Debbie is opening her bag. The ceiling shot. Debbie does not hesitate once Jesse goes down. The gym receptionist, Cindy, has been secretly helping Debbie all along. Cindy warned her when the boss was home. Cindy kept Debbie covered at the gym, and before Jesse left after his workout, Cindy slipped opium into his water bottle while he was in the shower. Now the drug has done exactly what Debbie needed it to do. Jesse is breathing, Jesse is armed, Jesse is helpless. Harley backs away from the sofa and lifts both hands when she sees the gun. "Debbie," she says, "what are you doing?" Debbie pulls on her leather gloves. "Sorry, Harley." She fires once. Harley drops at once, the whole body folding out of the room with almost no grace in it. Debbie waits for movement. There is none worth counting on. Then she turns to Jesse. This part is harder. She hates getting close to him. She hates the smell of his cologne. She hates the weight of his hand when she wraps his fingers around the grip of his own gun. Still, the frame has to hold. Debbie braces his wrist, points the barrel upward, and uses his hand to fire into the ceiling. The shot cracks through the apartment. Plaster dust rains down. Gunshot residue lands where it needs to land. She lowers the weapon and leaves it in his hand. From outside, through the wall and the window in the dark, she hears a man shouting her name. "Debbie! Cooper!" She freezes for one beat. Then she strips off the gloves, tucks them into her bag, and gets out of the apartment fast. What? They finally tell each other. Cooper is at the side of the building with a rock in his hand, half ready to smash a window. When Debbie comes around the corner, he drops the rock at once and runs to her. He throws both arms around her so hard it almost hurts. "Jesus," he says into her neck. "I was so worried." For a second she stands stiff inside the embrace. Then she holds him back. He pulls away just enough to search her face. "I thought I heard a gunshot." "I didn't hear anything," Debbie says. "Maybe a car backfired." He looks like he does not believe that. He lets it go. Then he says, "I found my boss. That wipes everything else out." At his house, he says. He's dead. Debbie says nothing. "My gun is gone too." His breath catches. "Tell me you didn't use my gun." The question is so precise that it tells her everything about his panic. "I swear on our daughter's lives," she says, hand on her chest, "I did not shoot your boss with your gun. That is the truth." Relief moves through him so hard his shoulders sag. Then he grips both her hands and says, "I need to tell you something." "Okay." He looks down, then back up. "I'm an alcoholic." Debbie just stares. "I've known since college," Cooper says. "I fell off the wagon again after the partnership thing. I was sneaking off to AA meetings. That's where I was at night. That's why I kept turning off my location. I was ashamed, Debbie. I should have told you. I should have told you a long time ago." He looks wrecked after saying it. Smaller, also more real than he has in weeks. Debbie squeezes his hands once. Then she says, "I was raped in college." That stops him cold. "That's why I left school," she says. "I never told you. I should have. I just couldn't." Cooper's face breaks open with grief. He pulls her into another hug, gentler this time. He does not ask for details. He just holds her there in the dark outside the apartment. When he finally leans back, his eyes are wet. "I think," he says carefully, "we need couples therapy." A laugh escapes Debbie before she can stop it. No argument there. Then Cooper asks the next question, because some part of him still needs every fact he can get. "Where is my gun?" "I got rid of it." He blinks. "You what?" I didn't want it in the house." He shakes his head, too tired to fight that battle tonight. Then he says the only useful thing left. "Let's go home." Debbie nods, and for once, she goes where he leads. 1 year later. A year later, Jesse is convicted of murdering the boss and Harley. He gets double life. Debbie does not spend much time thinking about the sentence now. Life at home takes up more room. Cooper's new accounting firm is doing well. He is sober. He says hard things sooner than he used to. Debbie's older daughter is away at a top college. Her younger daughter is thriving on the soccer team. Debbie sold her app, Punish Your Husband, for real money, and she and Cooper still go to couples therapy every 2 weeks. They do not skip. That is part of why the marriage holds. But One morning, Debbie goes to Titan before a meeting and finds Cindy at the front desk. Cindy smiles the second she sees her. "I saved the machine by the window for you." "Of course you did," Debbie says. It still strikes Debbie sometimes how different Cindy looks now. Her shoulders are lower, her smile is real. She does not have to check the door every time a man walks in. Cindy had been the wife behind one of the old advice column letters, the woman whose husband controlled the money, the movement, and the air inside the house. Debbie helped her leave. Cindy helped Debbie finish the rest. That help mattered. The warning text mattered. The alibi mattered. The drugged water mattered. Cindy leans forward a little and asks, "How's Cooper?" "Good," Debbie says. "Better than good." Cindy nods like that answer means exactly what it should. By the time Debbie leaves the gym, Cooper has already texted her about dinner plans. The house will be loud when she gets home. There will be work on the counter, shoes by the door, and somebody asking what is for dinner. Therapy is still on the calendar. So is the rest of their life. Jesse stays where the court put him. The Mullen family keeps moving. What makes Dear Debbie more revealing than a standard fast thriller is that its premise already comes loaded with secrecy, partial truth, and public authority. That is also what makes it a strong placement inside Freida McFadden's body of work. She writes with clinical efficiency, and that word fits literally. McFadden is a physician with a background in brain injury, and her fiction often moves with that same sense of function. Short scenes, direct prose, pressure applied at the right moment. Her digital first rise matters here too, because she learned early how books spread online. The hook has to read clean, the chapters have to move fast, the book has to travel on instant readability and brand trust. People often file her under the popcorn thriller label. In this case, that label is useful as a description of method. Within her catalog, Dear Debbie is a particularly clean example of how well that method works when the premise already contains concealment, unequal knowledge, and public judgment. The advice column tradition gives the book that charge. A line runs from the Athenian Mercury in the late 17th century to Dear Abby and Ann Landers in the 20th century. Across that history, the form served as anonymous public confession. People could write in with the parts of life they could not easily say aloud at home: adultery, resentment, sexual confusion, family damage, private shame, fear. The column offered cover through anonymity. It also offered exposure. One person asked F or help. Everyone else got to read the trouble. That social role matters. Dear Abby and Ann Landers were not fringe figures. They lived inside ordinary household media. Their authority came wrapped in routine. Readers met them in the same paper that carried weather, comics, recipes, and local news. So the advice column did two things at once. It turned private damage into public reading, and it made judgment feel calm, practical, and domestic. The voice of the column promised order. The letters brought in mess. That gap is why the form was always close to suspense. The letter writer gives a version of events, never the whole thing. The columnist answers from fragments. The audience watches from the side and starts filling in blanks. Now us. Who is hiding something? Who wants sympathy more than truth? Who gets to define the problem in the first place? Even before a thriller touches it, the structure is already full of asymmetry and tension. The person asking for help is exposed. The person giving advice has pub. Like authority, the reader gets both intimacy and distance at once. That is why Dear Debbie feels like such a good fit for McFadden. She works best when the premise arrives with built-in pressure. She does not need long setup to create unease if the form already carries hidden motives, missing facts, and a stage for judgment. The advice column brings all of that immediately. It gives her secrecy without extra scaffolding. It gives her a public voice that sounds stable even when the material under it is unstable. It gives her a familiar social ritual that reader is understand at once. So this book reads as a very precise meeting between material and method. It also explains why the premise still lands now. The old newspaper column has not vanished. It has migrated. we still see the same behavior in feeds, forums, anonymous posts, and all the other places where people hand over fragments of private life to public interpretation. Strangers still diagnose relationships from incomplete evidence. Audiences still gather to judge, excuse, warn, project, and enjoy the spectacle. The platform changed. The appetite stayed in place. People still want a voice. That sounds certain. People still want access to other people's private trouble. That continuity gives Dear Debbie a wider cultural edge. The book is using an old media form that still feels native to the present. That is the main after effect worth keeping. Dear Debbie shows how easily an inherited confessional format can be converted into fast suspense for contemporary reading habits. It takes the old advice columned machine with its anonymous confession and public judgment and runs it through McFadden's stripped-down pacing. So the book matters here as a sharp example of her method. It shows where this kind of thriller sits in today's reading culture, close to older mass media rituals, close to the way books spread online, and very alert to how quickly readers respond to secrecy delivered in a familiar form.